Welcome, guys, back to the I Love Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, as always, Justin Woolwine, and today we are welcomed with Remy D. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm excited. Like I told you off screen, Martin Cass put out the good word for you, so I'm excited to talk to you. He said you were quite the character, and this will be very entertaining. So I'm excited.
No, I'm just the janitor. I clean. No, right.
Before we dive into all things Remy D, would you like to shout out your social medias, upcoming events, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm very much so active mostly on my Instagram. That is Remy D, REMYD underscore official at Instagram. I'm trying to get better at TikTok, doing the TikTok thing. That's the same Remy D underscore official there. I'm on Facebook as Remy REMYDEE because Facebook doesn't let you put one letter. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Perfect. Um, I always start at the same place, since how we are a wrestling podcast. When did you find professional wrestling, and what about it made you fall in love with it?
That was a thing that I shared, like a common bond with both my dad and my stepdad. First, when my dad, when I was younger, I got into my whole family on my dad's side. Even my grandmother was into wrestling. They were into NWA and all the old school stuff. But I remember as a kid, I would catch glimpses of it. Like I would catch like Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and Bobo Brazil back then. But I didn't understand, obviously, at that age what they were doing. I just know they were like fighting each other. But I just my first character that I really paid attention to was Undertaker. Even as a kid, I just loved the whole whimsical, the whole. I liked horror as a kid. I was weird as a 3, 4 year old. I loved horror movies. So, but just to see Undertaker, that kind of got me back into it. But I didn't really start following it until I was maybe in like elementary school, middle school, and then that's when I started finding it, getting more into it perpetually.
Okay. Who were, I know you mentioned Taker, but who were some of your favorites growing up?
I would Taker's always been number one. Like I said, just between the aesthetic, the gear, the ring gear, the vignettes, the pre-tapes, like he was always that one. And then as far as females, I'm always a big fan of Jazz. When she started in ECW, and then seeing her come up in when she got to the E. So probably those are my two ones that I followed the most and kind of uh, looked at their blueprint of how they came up in the business.
Gotcha. Just because it's a fun topic, what's your favorite era or version of The Undertaker?
Uh, I love the old Western one. I mean, obviously that was the OG, that was the beginning. But when he got buried alive, with the Mankind in '96 and came back as like the all black gear came down with the bat wings and everything, I was like, okay, now I'm invested.
Okay.
I'm invested. Yeah. So probably the Lord of Darkness era.
Okay. I'm one of the rare ones that I really enjoyed the American Badass. I don't know, something about the realism of the American Badass Undertaker. And I was born in 2000, so like my first like memories of Taker were him on a Harley and him coming out to Limp Bizkit and things like that. So like that's always just been my favorite. And so far doing the podcast, I'm in the minority when it comes to that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's absolutely valid. I'm gonna say that his mic work and promo work during that era was top tier because he had the freedom. He could talk more, so he talked his stuff. So it was great. Yeah.
I thought it was so cool when he went back to like the Lord of Darkness, the version of the Undertaker we all really know and love. Because for me, it was such a change of pace. Because I'm like, hey, this guy was just riding a Harley. He left for a little bit, now he's back and he's striking Randy Orton with lightning and stuff. Like this is interesting.
Yeah, it was really cool because to me it seemed like a hybrid of all those past versions of Taker. Like you had your old Western with the hat and the trench coat, and then he had the singlet when he became like during the American Badass era where he wore the singlet with the loose pants. So it was just like he kind of like had every generation along with him along the ride. So no one was left behind to understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just because it's a big thing in recent news, I've been trying to ask, wrestling world lost Hulk Hogan.
Hmm.
What's your feelings on the loss of, some would consider a big icon in the wrestling world?
Um, as I'll comment on Hulk Hogan as the character. There would be not a lot of opportunities. Not a lot of different promotions, organizations wouldn't exist without him. He definitely was the first as a character. If you look at like Suburban Commando and like all the movies he did back in the day, to open up that door for The Rock to do the Hollywood things, for all like the current modern day wrestlers who are branching out into other platforms. So I would definitely say without him to being the blueprint for that, wrestling business as we know it would cease to exist. So he definitely has that credit under him.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Um, you know, as fans, we all grow up and we wish, hey, I'd love to be a wrestler at one point in our lives. What made you decide to take that wish or that goal more seriously and actively seek training?
Yeah, so I've always wanted to. I always thought about it, dreamt about it, wanted to manifest it as a kid. But I'm from Detroit, so those kinds of schools, like wrestling schools, weren't anywhere near me. I think the closest one was probably OVW back in the day, and that obviously wasn't a an option. And my parents, my family were very much realist. I was one of the few ones to go to college, and so they were like, "Well, no, you going to school." Get your degree and get a good job and earn a living. But I'm like, I want to be a wrestler. And they're like, we ain't got time for that. We live in the and I understand that because in the environment we grew up in and we were raised in, dreams and those kinds of things didn't seem possible because of all the things that were going on around us. But I finally had that chance to I would say 2020, obviously when the world went to hell, that's when I lost my both my father and my stepdad to COVID 6 months apart. So that was kind of like an eye-opening realization for me, like, okay, life is too short, and if I want to do this while I'm getting to the prime of my life, now's the time. So I applied to get into Seth Rollins School, Black and Brave, in Davenport, Iowa. Got in by the grace of God. Don't know how I got in there, but because I've always been an athlete my whole life. I did collegiate cheer in college for 5 years. I did swimming, competitive swimming in high school. So being athletic has always been a part of me. So I got ready to go do that, and then like a week or so before it was time for me to go to Iowa, my grandmother passed away. So it was just a lot building up to that. And my mom needed me. Obviously, my brother and my family needed me because it was just a lot of grief in a very short amount of time. So I canceled those plans, and by once again, the universe came right back. And Rocky Mountain Pro, which the organization I've been a part of for 3 years now, there was an email that randomly went into my junk box that I happened to find. It's hey, do you want to be a wrestler, train to be a referee, da da da. And I didn't have no idea that it was in Colorado or Denver where I was. And so I came to the open house, met with Mercury Yaten, who's the owner, signed up, and then I started, and that was it. That was 2021,
Okay.
January of 2021.
What was training like with Rocky Mountain Pro?
Oh, intense, like very cardio heavy. A lot of emphasis on footwork in the ring. I didn't even hit the ropes or do rope work for like a good maybe almost 2 months because they wanted us to have the basics, polished and solidified and like ingrained into our brain, which I respect to this day because that was the foundation of everything that I've continued to grow upon since then. So footwork is always the main thing. It's going slow, not trying to do a whole ton of spots, but focusing on the basics, honing those, and then you can like proceed to go up the ladder to the more advanced things. So being an athlete, but still being very green to this business, that helped me a lot. It helped me a lot to excel.
You know, there's always the graduation period where in a wrestling school where you eventually get to make your debut. What was going through your mind when you got to make your debut for Rocky Mountain Pro?
Well, that's another issue. So I was training for about 3 or 4 months, and I was getting ready to make my debut. And then I'll never forget April 1st, April Fool's Day, 2021. I ruptured my Achilles tendon in
Oh
two.
boy.
Yeah, yeah. And when I tell you, I was depressed. That was probably the most. next to losing both my dads, that was the darkest moment of my life at that point. Because I was right there, the opportunity was right there, and then it got all taken away. So I was going for about as far as wrestling and training for almost a year, but I made it a goal to be back to walking again and back to that to about 6 months, which I was able to do. But thankfully, they had the writers of the show allowed me to my character to debut on screen. So that behind the scenes, I was still able to do my PT and one of the popular groups, the factions, the Triumphant, they wanted me, requested me to be a part of their group, which was like if you know the history of Rocky Mountain Pro, they were like the most dominant faction in Rocky Mountain's Pro's Rocky Mountain Pro's 15-year existence. So for them to like little old me out the gate saying, "No, we want Remy. We know the character. Like he's the shit. So we want him to be a part of our group so we can help continue to train him and to coach him and to mentor him." So yeah, I debuted in October of that year, and then I didn't actually debut as an actual wrestler until January of 2022.
Okay. So, like, what was going through your mind, I guess, whenever you get injured? Was you scared or was it, oh shit, what am I gonna do? Like, what was your reaction?
Oh, I thought I was done. Because I mean, you look back, you see like Edge, he had the exact same injury. Kobe, Black Mamba had it, Kevin Durant, and they came back from it. But if you look at the way they played, that spark, that explosion that make them, they didn't really quite have it anymore. So that was what was going through my mind is, like I can't have be at the level that I was competing at before. But through grace, through my faith, through having a inner circle of people to motivate me to keep me going, that helped a ton. It really did. And to stop internalizing everything and being realistic and still having those goals. And like I said, just trying to find something to be thankful for and positive about every single day made a ton of difference. So when I was ready to come on screen, I knew who I was. I knew who I was. I knew what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be presented as. And as soon as that cue on the camera came in, it was like ground, the feet on the ground. There was no stopping at that point.
Absolutely. So you make your debut on screen before you actually have your first match on screen. Do you think having that debut and being on screen and being a part of the program helped the anticipation for when you finally got to have that match?
Oh, absolutely. Because I mean, that laid the groundwork for me to have that first match as far as the storylines were concerned. And also, like I said, I was able to get used to wrestling not wrestling, but being on camera, knowing where your spots are. Because people know, like in the indies, I think that's another advantage we have with RMP because we're able to learn how to wrestle not just on house shows, but on television. So you know where your rover cams are, you know where your hard cam is, you know where to pay attention to sell the facials, to sell the moves. And I was able to that was kind of like my learning curve. I was able to, while I was at the ring being a manager for my group, I was able to watch to see how things operated. So therefore, when it was time for me to wrestle, it kind of came naturally. Like I knew I still had a lot of things to work on because I was being active in the ring, but I still knew how to sell to those different points. So, I mean, as much as it sucked, that also was a double-edged sword. It set me up for success to know how to wrestle for television.
Gotcha. You participated in the Grand Prix tournament in 2022. And you'd actually go on to win that. What was it like? What was that experience like competing in it and then being the victor?
Damn, Justin, you done your research. You went
I
all the
did
way
my
back.
stuff.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Um, Shoot. It was unexpected. I was not expecting to win. And I actually thought I was wrestling Mercury Gayton in the finals for that. And I had him. That's when I debuted the figure eight. And everyone was like, how the fuck is this dude doing a figure eight? I guess they never seen a man of an adult man be that flexible like Charlotte does to do it. I've always been flexible my whole life. It was my useless talent growing up, but now it means something. And the figure eight, everyone was just like, what the fuck? And then Mercury had tapped, and I legit thought I had tore his ACL or something. Because the way he was tapping, I'm like, I'm dead. He's gonna kick me out. He's gonna sue me. Like I just like destroyed this guy's leg. And then the ref came down to me. He's like, "Congratulations, bitch." And I'm like, Y'all, I hate all of y'all. I hate every single one of you. Yeah, so that was my first rib of being a part of the group. Like you won because they were proud and they were supportive and they knew what I had gone through to get to that point as thus far. And that was kind of like my reward for, just being persistent. So that was awesome. That was like my first big win in the company. It meant a lot.
Did they not tell you you was gonna win until you were in the ring?
They didn't tell me shit. I would thought I was supposed to lose and had on the card I was supposed to lose, which I was fine with because I made it to the final, so I was happy about that. But like I said, yeah, as soon as I hit that bridge up to the figure eight and I'm working it, I'm just like, oh, selling, 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 and then he just starts tapping like crazy, like something is wrong, and I'm like, oh my God, I heard him.
That's
And
amazing.
he's laying there selling, holding his leg. I felt so bad. And like I said, the referee leaned down. He's like, "Congratulations!" And I'm like, like my nerves were in shock like that whole time from that and from winning. So
Do you know whose idea it was to hit you with a little rib?
to this day, they won't tell me.
Okay.
So I don't know.
That's amazing. Just, I mean, while we're talking, kind of, I guess, a little bit of backstage, um, some of the producers for Rocky Mountain Pro are the likes of D'Lo Brown. I know Vince Russo has been a part of it. I know Marty Cass helps do some of that stuff from talking to him. What's it like being able to learn from guys? Um, and girls from, that know so much about this industry and be able to learn that backstage behind the scenes part of it from them.
Oh, I mean, to this day, it doesn't seem real. Like you would never tell Detroit little old kid me that I will be working with D'Lo Brown from the Nation of Domination. D'Lo Brown, who had one of the best matches in history with AJ Styles and TNA. The D'Lo Brown, the D'Lo Brown, who would personally mentor me, and I would be a part of a long storyline with him, where he's like not only mentoring me on screen but behind the scenes. Like the fact that I've been able to do storylines and work with the likes of Marty Cass, Sin Bodhi. Oh my goodness. Got just so many. Al Snow work with Vince Russo personally. Like you never know. Like I said, growing up, you never knew those things would be possible because there wasn't an example around you. But it's just such a blessing for me, like to know that those people who were a part of the Attitude Era, who had those opportunities, who made those memorable moments, and I have like their numbers in my phone. Like, what is life right now? I mean, it's crazy. I'm so thankful, so thankful.
Absolutely. Um, you win the Grand Prix tournament. Later that year, you go on to win, I believe, if Cage Match is correct, your first gold in Rocky Mountain Pro, the Charge Championship. What was that match like or moment like?
Oh yeah, that was against the Metalhead Maniac Sledge. It was leading up to that. It was the storyline was very personal because he was not assaulting. He wasn't insulting just me, but my family and me as a person. There was like a lot of different words that kind of, that were very like very personal, and the audience hated it, everyone hated it. And that was when right before that, a friend of mine, Danger Dean, who was on commentary, gave me the moniker Beauty and the Beast. And because I was always looking for a nickname, but I didn't want to give myself one. And I heard when I was doing film study, I heard him say that. I'm like, I could use that. So when I fought Sledge for the Charge Championship, it was at Milestone, which is like our WrestleMania. I kind of went into that whole gear change of, okay, Beauty and the Beast. I have to go into beast mode because Beauty Remy's always smiling, is always, getting with the crowd, always has like the very um, rhinestone flamboyant extra ass like outfits, where Beauty Remy is very stripped down, all black. There's no bells and whistles, there's no rhinestones, there's no nothing, there's just Detroit me. And that was the first time that I was able to show that gear change, and no one had seen that from me before. So I came out, I made this custom made Kill Bill look, and I had my katana. It was a real katana. I had like the entrance was, I had my crazy 88. Like I was very serious about my presentation, and the crowd just ate it up. We had a full house that night, and they were like, "All right, this motherfucker's serious." Like, okay, we know Beauty Remy, but this is something different. And now I would say that, and I thank Sledge for that experience, because that was the first time I understood the value of storytelling in the ring, not just the moves, but storytelling from obviously the vignettes and the pre-tapes, but actually with the body, because it's like you don't have to do spots to tell a story. It's the fighting from underneath, the underdog. Can Remy do it? Like Sledge has like 20 years experience under Remy's at that time, 1.5 years. So it was also making the audience believe in me, believe that I was a wrestler, that I could do it. And every time we would get, oh, Remy's about to do it, Sledge would snatch it away. And it was just like, okay, we don't know. I had them going through an emotional roller coaster. We both did. And when I put him in that figure eight at the end, everyone like went crazy. And once again, I didn't know I was winning the title. They got me again. So, yeah, that was, and you can see people watch back when the ref hands me the belt. I'm just like, I'm hot and I'm sweaty because we did a good 15-minute match, and I'm just like, God, and it was hot in there. And then he hands it to me, and I'm just like, I just broke down because I thought about my dad, both my dads, my grandma at that point, and it was just, it felt like just a full circle moment of everything that I had been through. And even commentary had put that over for me. Like they knew my story because I didn't talk about it a lot because I didn't want sympathy from my personal life. I wanted my work ethic to be apparent on screen, but just they would put the title on me, and that's like the charge title is like our intercontinental title. It's the workhorse title. So you're on every show, you're at every house show, and you're working. And that's what I did. That was kind of like where I learned to be a wrestler, an entertainer when I had that title because I was champion for like 308 days or something like that.
What was your favorite defense?
Uh, I'm not gonna lie. After after Sledge, we were changing writers, so some of the booking was a little janky. I
Mhm.
ain't gonna call no names, but it was the storylines and stuff, the setup to it was really bad. So I can't honestly say that they weren't all bad, but favorite, it would probably be just winning the championship because a lot of them were very quickly put together. If I had to, I would say it'd probably be with Curtis Cole at Shocktober. Because Curtis was a veteran of the company, and we did what we could personally to set up a meaningful pay-per-view match. And he took great care of me. He made me look like $1 million. I did my best to make him look great. The crowd was behind both of us, him as the heel, me as the baby face. That's when I came out as Gene Simmons Kiss because it was like a Halloween show and everyone lost their fucking minds. Um, but I would probably put that as a satisfactory, acceptable title defense.
Gotcha. You bring up the Gene Simmons attire. You have quite the plethora of like just amazing looks, amazing gears. Is Gene Simmons your favorite one, or do you have one that stands above that one?
I like Paul too. Paul is good in the group, buddy. I've always loved. I did Gene Simmons for in Halloween back in college years ago, so I've always wanted to do it on like a bigger level, and that was the point to that was like at that point to do it because that was like another variation of Beast Mode with like the demon character. Kill Bill is as to this day is everyone's favorite because they never expected it. But I've always been a quirky kid. I've always loved like sci-fi, like I said, horror, things of that nature, and being able to adapt that to wrestling to add and make it make sense and part of my looks and my gear comes easy to me. It's like I'm not trying to impress anyone. I'm genuinely being my authentic self. And thankfully, people like it and are very receptive of it.
Of course. Upon doing my research, I noticed you had a little feud with Carson Drake, who's also quite the character. Looking back, how do you feel about your feuds and moments you was able to capture with Carson?
Oh God, Carson and he is, and congratulations to him and all his success he's had since the last time he was at RMP. Once again, I learned a lot from as far as storytelling, working with someone that's outside the company because you get comfortable with people on the inside, but working with someone who has different ideas, different ways to work taught me how to work in a different way. And his character is so seamless. He's like me. I think that's why we work so well together because we believe in our characters. We're not pretending to be them. They're kind of like our personalities. And he was just the one that was always finding, weaseling his way out of matches with us and finding a cheap way to win. And that's how he stole the charge title from me. But I will say I was thankful for my feud with him because that was our blow off match is where people saw a kind of like a foreshadowing of what the B side of Remy would look like. There was like no hair, there was like very, very short hair, all black. I had my Timberland boots on, like Detroit style. Like it was like a street fight because he had pissed me off so much up to that point. And once again, it was being shady, sketchy, being disrespectful. And so I came out, Remy wasn't smiling. I wasn't interacting. I wasn't with the crowd. I was obviously a babyface, but my focus was on him to end that feud. So even working with Cars, having that opportunity and seeing where he is now, I'm just so excited for him and thankful that I had that under my belt now.
Absolutely. Um, I've been lucky to have both the next guys I'm going to talk about on the podcast. And they both have, once again, very compelling characters. And I'm interested to see how you think your characters have clashed on screen. First, like Damon Ace is an absolute monster on screen, and he's very intense as an individual. What's it like being in the ring with him and trying to develop matches and stories with somebody like Damon Ace?
Oh my goodness. First, I mean, that's I get lost of words with him because we have this relationship where we love to hate each other. We have a beautiful disaster relationship. If you look at the very few handful of matches we've had over the years, starting with the first one we had on Ignition, like maybe 2021 or 22, I want to say it's 22, for the Twitch title. Just the way he taught me how to sell, the way he taught me how to show that emotion and really act like you're injured. Like think about when you got injured with your Achilles. Use that as motivation. And we've made magic like literally every time we step in the ring with each other. And it doesn't happen often. So sometimes it gets looked over because he has these bigger profile matches with bigger names, which is okay. But if people do film study and look back, like I would say to date, our best match was Aces Wild of last year, for the first round. And when I tell you, like there was no locking up when that bell rung. We started bucking out the gate because obviously he has a lot more experience in the ring than I do. But as a fighting spirit, I've lived life a lot longer than he has. Don't let the Godiva chocolate fool you. I'm a lot older than he is. But I we both helped each other. Our chemistry is indescribable what we do in the ring together, and even behind the scenes, like if you look at both of our presentations as characters, our pre-tapes, our backstage vignettes and stuff, we love to tell a good cohesive story. We're both horror movie fans. We love that stuff, and I think that's how we get along so well because we vibe off each other. We allow each other to shine. We allow each other. We give and take from each other. So had to have him, and even if you asked him, he'll say that he still doesn't know shit. He'll try to downplay it, but I'm like, dude, like you're RMP champion for a reason. So shut the fuck up and take the compliment. But it's just amazing, and I can't wait for us to do it on a bigger platform where we can just really let it all out and leave it all in the ring. Because that'll be the day that you really will know who Remy D and Damon Ace is.
Okay. Um, the other guy I was talking about, we talked about what it's a little bit about what it's like to work with him, maybe behind the scenes, but what's it like getting in the ring with Martin Cass?
Uh, what's the Forrest Gump quote? It's like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're gonna get. That's Marty.
Okay.
That's good old Marty. Yeah, we've had our feud before in the past. We wrestled again last year on a pay-per-view, and I'm always learning something new from him. And even behind the scenes, like when I have those moments of doubt, if I'm progressing in wrestling, if I have, what do I have to do to get opportunities to keep working? He's always a phone call or a text away to keep that encouragement and that motivation behind me because he truly believes in me not only as a wrestler, but as a person, as a human being, as an adult. So I'm very thankful to have him in my life. But like I said, you will always learn something new from him in the ring, even behind the scenes. He's a great guy.
Um, how did you get to be a part of the Wrestle Drag event?
Charles, who's the owner and the promoter of it, found me out of nowhere. It's so weird because it's like I promote myself, but all these big promoters, I never know how to get in touch with them, but somehow they find me.
Right.
But he reached out to me. He slid into the DMs and asked me if I was interested in it. And I was like, hell yeah. I'm always looking for a new opportunity.
What's it like, like kind of bringing the two aspects of life together? Like, is that interesting for you?
It is. Well, me personally, I chose not to do a full like drag look because it was hot as balls out there that particular day. It was 97 degrees. The ring was in the sun, so the canvas had got super hot. So if you watch that match or that whole event over, everyone was like getting pinned very quickly. Like it was like a quick count because the one dude got like third-degree burns because someone decided to drag him across the hot canvas. I don't know why,
Right.
um but me personally, it was more so Remy D. I mean, people can see like the very androgynous side of Remy sometimes. So I think that's where they kind of made that too. But I didn't want to put on all that makeup and shit. Like I said, it was 97 degrees. It would have lasted 30 seconds. So they got specifically Remy that RMP knows that day.
Got you, got you. Um, I was looking at your Instagram and like the first thing tagged on there, you did a little interview on a news station about Colorado's next drag superstar.
Yeah.
What was that like experience like for you, and kind of let us know what that world's like.
Oh, it was great. At that point, that was kind of like my I would say winning that was a resurgence in my performance drag career. Because up until that, like I said before, I had like lost two parents, my grandmother got injured. That was like a ripple effect when I got injured. I also lost my job. Almost became homeless, but thankfully, I had some great friends, a great support system who was able to help me get me along out of that area. So when I got hurt, though, I was gone from drag for about a little over a year and a half you know, focus on getting better physically, mentally, trying to deal with stuff. So in the drag world, there's always a new queen on the scene, a new performer. So you kind of getting forgotten about sometimes. They're always looking for the next best thing. So I didn't think anyone will remember me, even though I've been performing for 17 years. Um, so I didn't want to do it at first, but Jessica and a couple of other people, they're like, bitch, just fucking do it. Like, it'll be a lot of fun. I'm like, I don't want to do another pageant contest, whatever. But after thinking about it, I'm like, I really needed it to see if I really belong in the scene anymore. But yeah, it was 10 weeks of just the hardest shit ever. Like, social media challenges every week. We had the competition every Sunday. And then at that point, I lost my car. My cardboard decided to break down 2 weeks into the thing. So trying to figure out how to get to work, go to the store to get the supplies for the challenges was so hard. But like I said, that particular thing was really meant for me because I ended up all those challenges. I ended up getting the crown. And it was an awesome experience. It made me feel good. I was introduced to a new demographic of customers and followers of drag. And because everyone thought I was brand new to the scene, everyone was like, "Fuck no, Crystal been around here. She was just gone for a minute." But it was an awesome experience, very awesome.
Do you plan on regaining the crown?
No, so no, I have to pass it on to the next one. We're getting ready for season two in the next couple of months. So I have to give it away to somebody.
You have to give it away, so there's no chance on regaining it?
No, once it's mine, it's mine. It's like there's a new winner every single season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like it's different. Um, is there a difference between Cristal and Remy D?
I would say probably the only difference is a lot less makeup.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the biggest difference, I guess, in the competition between professional wrestling and the drag world?
I would say little to none. I mean, if you look at the parallels between the two, look at the pageantry of of wrestling entrances. I mean, Ric Flair, Classy Freddie Blassie, Gorgeous George always came out with these Vegas style feathers and robes, and you go to a drag show and it's the exact same thing. You go into wrestling, there's the use of tape for your wrist and everything. You go to drag dressing room, there's a lot of uses for tape. I'll leave that to the audience imagination what it's used for, but there's so many parallels to it. The drama is still there in behind the scenes. You're promoting your character in the ring and on the stage. There really isn't a big difference. There really isn't.
Last question, then I'll let you go. We're about halfway through 2025. I always like to figure out like what are some of your goals for the remainder of this year? Like where does Remy expect to be come December of 2025?
I would hope my biggest goal right now is to become the Rocky Mountain Pro Champion, to be at the top of the mountain. I feel that while I'm still growing, but I feel right now in my bag and my tool of things, I have what it takes to represent the company, to help it grow with the best of my ability. Obviously, I have opportunities like this to promote it. I know who I am in the ring. I know how to present myself in public. I know how to be professional. So all of those things are what it takes to represent something of that magnitude. But yeah, being champion is my number one thing I hope to do, and hopefully to get signed, by a big company. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. If it's meant to be, it will be made for me.
Got you. Remy, thank you. This was an absolute pleasure. I always leave the door open. If you ever want to come on for a part two, we can do a little checkup. I'd love to have you.
Absolutely. And please I want to tell everyone, please follow us at Rock RMP Wrestling on Instagram. If you're in the Colorado area, please come to a show. We have shows all summer. We have shows this weekend. Come to our arena in Golden, Colorado. Hit me up for tickets. If you want to get more information or a calendar, I can send that your way.
Perfect. Remy, I will leave this at see you next time then.
All right. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate you.